water, sandy base, and here's how the boat sits right now. Mini top I left popped up a little bit so it could dry out. Cutting board is just kind of there to see how we like the fit of the boat, see if we're going to leave it on there for just random uses while we're fishing. Trolley motor worked pretty good in the front. Life jackets were soaking wet from holding water. My tackle bag was soaking wet from holding water. I always pull my anchor out to let the anchor rope dry up. Fuel tank, I always go through and I disconnect my vent hoses and my fuel hoses. Disconnect it from the motor and leave the motor in the down position so nothing nasty happens with it. The boat itself is a 14 by 36 John boat. It's like a 1963, so it's about time to retire the thing. But it's just hard to beat what's still working. Even the trolley motor still works. And this is an old one that my grandpa had. Here we go. So, if you like watching stuff like this, I'll try doing a little bit more. We'll get the air bass boat out sometime and do a quick video on it. We need to take it out and do some fishing with it. This is what the dude does. He just creeps, waits for attention, stays out of the way. If I was to sit down right now, he'd be right with me. Already got the little Johnson off. Just gotta get the rest of the boat teared down. Keep you posted. Alright, so here's what I got going. I want to keep my battery where it's at. I've got it in the center of the boat. I've got it supported on one of the ribs of the boat, and then just an extra piece of ladder. Got it screwed down to both so it's not going to go anywhere. That's just sitting there. I'll probably throw some rubber or something underneath it, keep it from being metal against metal. I want to keep this support on a portion of the actual metal framing. That way I've got the structure of the boat holding up the back there. I'll go in here and I'll trim a hatch to get in my battery box. And I'll box all this off a little more, make it more rigid right here. And then somewhere up front here, I'm gonna cut in our access door. I'd like to use like this area here, cutting this and this to make it where I have an access hole from the side and still have my trolley motor on the edge. So we'll see how that goes. The good thing is if you use aluminum ladder like I have very minimal structure. I've got it sitting on the front of the boat, on the front seat. I have a piece of 1-inch angle running from edge to edge, and it is simply screwed to a piece of the ladder itself that I cut off to keep it from bouncing up and down. And then it's just got one little screw holding it to the actual seat. My rigid point right here, I shouldn't have any issue having a little bit of overhang that's unprotected and then using the front of the ladders like they are. I should have plenty of stability. I am going to take it from structure point to structure point, make two pieces that come over around the battery. That way these are actually supported from here somewhere in this point. But as you can see, that right there is an old repair. It's marine JB Weld epoxy. Did that a long time ago and it's worked really well. Like, I'm not afraid to keep doing it, but it'd be nice not to have a huge amount of putty in these drainage valleys. If I can do it with solder and fix it from the bottom, I'm going to. But I took my laser. I like to use the rivets that are on the boat, like right there at the tip of my finger. Those are usually the same from this edge to that edge. Same for the seats mounting points. These little rivets are usually identical on either side. So on something like this boat where it's a 63 for a hole, it's too hard to sit there and try getting them perfectly straight. So I'll use the rivets. And I got my laser on this one, and I got my laser running across the ladder, connecting it. So I'll get that cut down. I'll cheat when I go to put the wood back on, and I'll just lay the wood up there, reach underneath and mark it, and then put my wood back on. Got my battery access, and we'll go on our day with it. So stay posted, I'll keep tearing down. So these are the leaks that I know of. This is the back of the boat. That guy right there is leaking on the inside. That one's leaking on the inside. That one's leaking on the inside. And it looks like somebody before went through and put some kind of silicone on it. Some kind of sealant. I'm about to go through here and I'm gonna guess and check. I'm hopefully gonna get them all. Hitting these. I have a rivet here. I got another rivet that blew through right here. This is the old live well area. That's why there's 2 drain plugs. So those are the big ones I know about, and one more rivet up here. This is that putty repair. I don't know if I'm gonna try to tear that down knowing that it's not leaking, but you can see somebody else already did a huge little aluminum patch. There is another little hole inside. It's just a little bitty guy, but it's staying dry, so I'm not gonna mess with it. All right, so this first one's more of a hole. We're gonna try to clean up the area around it with some memory cloth, and then we're gonna try to hit it with a little bit of heat, put some flex on it, see if it'll take some regular solder before we go crazy and go get the welding rod. Hey everyone, it's a new day. Trying to pick back up on the project where I left off the other day. I went out and bought some aluminum rod. I just went to Lowe's, picked up some aluminum brazing rod. Working temp 720 to 750. Fun thing is, you get 2 rods for $5. So let's see how far this gets me. Buy a new bottle of MAP gas. MAP gas should be about what it takes to get up to the temp I need. So we're gonna start where we left off with the solder. The flex darkened up. I still got a little solder in the hole, which I'm just gonna use as base. I'm gonna try to cover up pretty much around this circle and see what happens with it. I did go through and I marked with Sharpie where the big holes were. All right, so I'm gonna go in here, clean it up a little bit again, get all that dirty old flux off. And this is just a roll of waterproof 180 grit sandpaper. We'll torch it a little bit, get some heat in it, get it cleaner. This should be the same process as soldering. You want the metal itself about as hot as you can get it. And then you want to add the welding rod in. Alright, let's change. Solder down in the hole's already started to melt. So I just made it a lot worse. Alright, so that blew the hole out completely, which is good, because it means I got the boat hot enough around where I wanted to torch it at. Made a bigger hole, and then I filled the thing completely full of solder with a brazing rod. It looks like I might have a little hole right there, but I don't know if I can get that to patch this rod straight into weld. Alright, we'll let that be ugly. Got a happy dog. Alright, so this one here is a big one. I don't know how well this is going to do filling. I'll go in there and try to scrape everything out with the screwdriver, and then I'll go back in with the torch. Curiosity wants me to see how well I do with just the solder and the brazing rod. Definitely an option to do it. I just don't feel like I'm getting the boat hot enough to be really confident with any of it. It's more light. There's my hole. There's my other hole. there's not a lot of material left back here. See how this ends up going. Guard dog's on the attack because the wife's home. I'm gonna do the same thing though. I'm gonna put some flux in here for shits and giggles. See what happens with it. I literally heard the weld fall out on the inside, so I don't think it's gonna do me very much good. But it just farted. So we'll see how this goes. We got all the soldering done on what I wanted to do. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 leaks. Thought there were 7 for some reason. Aluminum brazing rod. You can get a torch head like this one. it'll let you angle the bottle down. So when you're having issues like I was earlier with keeping it lit with one of these other guys, they're good torch heads, but they're not ideal for this situation, which would be these guys here. They're great when you're doing plumbing stuff. And I almost think just some regular solder would have worked, but I couldn't get this to take on the boat very well. But we'll see what ends up happening with it.